Hello, welcome to book club. Today, the boys and I are back at for the start. No, this is the second part. What am I talking about? That spoke Zarathustra,
Spoken.
part two. The end of
Good
the
to see that
first
part
part.
one.
Yeah, the end of the first part. Part two, end of
Part
first part.
two into part one.
Um, as always, no announcements this time. The rankings have not changed as of a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks. Whatever. With that, Connor, I'll have you
Connor.
choose who goes first.
Oh,
Well, let's go with David.
All right.
What have you been up to, David?
What have I been up to? Just work, man. Just work. Nothing too crazy. Had a nice chill weekend. Didn't really go out this time. Just stayed at home. Worked on a couple of home stuff, good old home chores. Work, walking down the path that I've cultivated for myself. Really working and putting products on that website to build it up. Doing the shipping across the whole US. Um, it's pretty much been my main focus, and just other little things I gotta pick up, little legal stuff that I gotta look into and study. Yeah, honestly, that's about it. I have not had a very interesting 2 weeks.
Do you find that stuff like interesting or like boring? Are you
Nope,
like are you like I can't have to deal
so
with this?
boring.
Okay.
Like right now, I have to do a title transfer of one of our vehicles from a personal to a company vehicle, and that in and of itself, I think I have to fill out a 130U. I need to verify our appraisal to verify that we work over here in the county that we're in. Then I gotta go to the actual tax county office, and it's just the whole thing. It's not exciting.
Fair enough.
I gotta keep the legal. I gotta hit the LLC and personal stuff as separate as possible because I don't
Oh yeah,
wanna.
for sure. You don't want to get any of that stuff
I
on
don't want
you.
to. I
You
don't
don't
want
you
to
want
get
people
any.
taking your house or
you
anything.
don't want that heat.
I don't want the audit, man. I don't want to
He
get
doesn't want
audited.
the IRS heat.
I don't want the IRS heat,
Yeah.
man.
So the
But
IRS are listening to this.
I'm doing good. If the IRS is listening, I'm doing good. I am working as I should be. But
Awesome.
yeah, that's about it. Not exciting, just paperwork.
Nice.
Connor, I'm gonna do a little throwback to
Ooh,
you,
throw it
man.
back.
Ooh, he's like
Throw it back? You want me to throw it back? Or
I want
you're
you to
throwing
throw
it
I
it
want
back
you to
to
throw it
me?
back.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So, like, am I saying what I want or I did, or am I giving it to someone
no,
else
you're saying
again?
what you did. That was a one-time thing.
Okay. All right. How he's putting his foot down.
Someone's got to. If I don't,
Um,
you could just choose David again. Things could get crazy.
David, what have you been up to? No, I've just been working like usual. Um, it really is starting to feel like summer. It was like 91 degrees
Dude, it really
yesterday.
Hot
does,
today.
doesn't
Holy
It
it?
was
crap.
hot today, bro, and it rained. I don't know about y'all, but it
Today
rained like
and
crazy over
yes,
here.
over here it
Dude,
was still
it was
just
chill over
hot.
here,
Hot
but it
though.
was hot. It was hot
It's
today.
not.
Um,
We love it. April. Time to get
oh,
hot.
also, the day after our book club, our previous book club 2 weeks ago, right? I burned my hand at work.
Oh,
Uh,
No.
yep, I got a second-degree burn. Um, I was brazing and my braze joint popped off, and I said some choice words, and I went like this, and I put my torch right to the back of my hand,
oh,
and I was
nice.
pissed.
Now you
I
got
was
raised
pissed.
hand.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
Yeah.
bad. Were you wearing gloves?
No, thank God I wasn't wearing gloves, because if I was wearing gloves, it would
Would
have
melt
right
on.
through my
Or onto
gloves,
your
and it would
skin?
have melted into my skin.
Yeah, I guess that does sound pretty bad.
That would have been a infection for sure. Right
Are you
now,
like
though,
not supposed to wear gloves, or were you kind of?
You a little cheating a little bit.
you should wear gloves, but
I was about to say
You're
somebody's
glad you
definitely
weren't.
not getting that bingo.
Yeah, bro.
Someone's
No,
We're
no, no,
gonna
no,
get
no.
that safety
Professionally,
check
employee of the
on
this
that.
month,
is
bro.
between us and our YouTube channel, okay? Professionally, I burned my hand on a skillet, so I'm still in that safety bingo, okay?
Oh,
Oh
awesome.
yes, right. The skillet.
Awesome.
The
Yeah,
skillets
just
are
wait till I send
dangerous,
this to
man. You
your
gotta watch out
boss.
for them.
Yeah, hot butter, man.
Yeah, you never know.
Um, and then I also was recently a part of hiring people to my company. I've
Oh,
been
that's
Whoa.
with my
fun.
company for a whole year, and I'm already like, my
Isn't that
boss is
crazy?
calling me like every week. He's like, "So what did you think of this actual guy? Like, do you think he'll be a good fit?" And like, yeah, I mean, he had a good resume, man. Like, I liked his. He was carrying around a fuel impact, like Milwaukee Fuel Impact M12. I was like, that's pretty fucking cool. I use the same impact, you know. So he's a good guy. Um,
He's that
Impact
compliance.
Bros. Impact
Yeah.
Bros.
the
The
fact that he's already in
M12.
Milwaukee should be enough, honestly, you know. Um, but yeah, it's just been work. My sister's birthday was this past weekend. We all celebrated. Um, bought her a bunch of like anime figurines and stuff because we went to like the Katy Asian town
Oh
and
Mm.
like
yeah.
kind of went around like that whole area. Got her some like
Cute.
mangas and stuff. It was a good time. But yeah, that's basically it. Just been
Does she
chilling.
have a kid already? I can't
My
remember.
sister? No, no,
Yes.
no. My brother.
Does
My
your brother
Yeah,
and
my
his wife?
sister-in-law. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
she's pregnant. She's actually due in July, so pretty soon.
Wow.
That's when I was
Wowzers.
born. She could be birthday twins.
Cancer.
Yeah, be sure that if that happens, that's the first thing you tell her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell her that this guy Howie in book club is.
Yeah, Howie actually was born in July too. I don't know if you knew that.
Honestly, just shoot at the YouTube channel.
Subscribe to our
Yeah,
YouTube.
you
Oh
should
yeah, subscribe
subscribe.
to the YouTube channel, by the way.
She'd be like, who's Howie? Oh, well, let me show you.
Boy, am I glad you asked. That brings us to today's personal sponsor, Boog Club. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll pass it off to Seth, and then Howie, you can close it off.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, I said this update during Civ, but it's probably good to share with the greater populace. But 2 weekends ago I toured apartments in Nashville, so I know where I'm staying. Already done my application, got accepted, my apartment number and everything, and I'm super excited.
Would you like to share your
Um,
apartment number with the class?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to share the apartment number and the apartment and the street and
Zip
my
code too, please.
license
I would
plate once
appreciate
I get
that.
it changed to the Tennessee one. Well, my social security number. And so there was that. And then, which that's a pretty big deal. But I also went to a concert last night, Baby Keem concert. Had a ton
Ooh.
of fun and randomly ran into one of my college buddies, Abel and Nikhil, shout out, just in line. They just saw me. So I got to skip
Remember
like half the
Abel?
line because they were there. And then I hung out with them for the whole concert. So that was fun.
Sick.
Always love, in a city as big as Houston, you forget that you can like run into people,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
been,
crazy, actually.
it's actually crazy. It's been so long since that's happened to me.
Dude,
It happened all the time in college.
I actually just had a client come by today who knows the guy we buy eggs from.
That's crazy.
So it's just funny.
There you go.
In a small world, like
Small
some
world.
interactions just kind of happen. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I went to visited my girlfriend in California for what will probably be the last time too. It was bittersweet, kind of fun, but also like end of an era.
To clarify, it's not him seeing his girlfriend for the last time. It's him seeing his girlfriend in
Yeah,
California
yeah,
for the last time.
Yeah, that's quite the misinterpretation that would be very easy to make with the words I chose. So thanks,
yeah. And she
Howie.
watches
Of
this too.
course.
This like use. No, I'm not gonna say
This is
that.
how
She
you
has
break the
not been
news.
watching since we
So if you
got
got
like
Nietzsche,
halfway through Nietzsche. she's been tapped out. she, every time she's like, "You guys done yet? You guys done?" And then I was like, "Oh, we're moving on to a new book." And she's like, "Oh my god, what's the new book?" I was like, "We got Nietzsche again." She was sad.
uh, this
Pretty
book's
funny.
pretty good though. This is
It's
a
pretty
good one.
funny.
It's
It's
it's a little
better.
bit different than
Well,
the other one.
it's better. No, I don't know what I think about it yet. We're only in part one.
Yeah. But I get to the second
True.
part.
Which we'll get to the second part today.
Yeah, we will.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
All right.
100%.
That's what I got. What about you? Wait.
Me, there's been kind of a few things going on. So
Uh-oh.
Big life
one,
updates.
yeah, we got a little bit. So new cat vibes. Second cat,
Oh yeah.
cat number 2. Her name's Cleo. She's sweetest cat I've ever seen, actually. Like literally sweetest. I don't think she has a mean bone in her body. Um,
Honey,
she
on the other hand.
Honey. So okay, yeah. Let me. I'll try to wrap this up kind of quick, but basically, Cleo, her like little safe spaces in the bathroom because we have to keep them separate at first, and then they like slowly introduce them one another. Doing some scent swap, and then we got this whole mesh, like this like screen, so they can see each other without like having to touch each other. Don't want any physical contact at first. Um, Honey kind of been hissing a little bit whenever, but it's only like if Cleo gets like too close is kind of what it's been. Because Honey's like, this is Honey's home, right? She's been here for longer than Cleo. And so this is Honey's home. And so she sees a new cat and she's like, whoa, you're all in my business. And like if Cleo gets a little too close, Honey's like, hisses a little bit. She's like, yo, stay away. I ain't ready to really be with you like that, mess with you like that. And so she's done that a few times. She like raised her paw once, but it wasn't like anything. Um,
She did like the
she didn't like swat. She didn't swat or anything. She just kind of like raised it up for a second, like,
little pump fake.
stay back. Yeah, like
A
stay
little
back
pump
right now.
fake.
Um, so other than that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
but we did just let them actually like see each other without a screen. Actually right before this, and it was a little scary at first because Honey went into the bathroom. She kind of like took charge. She's like, I'm going in here. And then she saw Cleo like in her little box, her little like bed area, her little sleeping area, and she just started kind of hissing. And it's like scary, but all she did was hiss, not like trying to attack or anything like that. Just kind of hiss, I guess, being like, "Hey, yo, what you doing here?" Um, but so yeah, so she like hissed a little bit, and she kind of like walked away, kind of walked back, kind of walked away, and she has not hissed after like the third or fourth time, which is great, which is fantastic. And now we have the door open right now, actually, and Honey isn't even like just going into the bathroom, like she's actually chilling right by my feet right now. So things are kind of like normal with the door open, which is great.
So we're getting to see a historical moment for your household
It
live
is.
right
Yes, this
now.
is a pretty big moment right now.
Wow.
I'm okay, a little stressed because I mean at this point probably no fight's gonna break out. But it's a little stressful. Um, Other than that, Nicole just got a new car, actually.
Whoa.
Ooh,
Yeah.
License plate?
that's exciting.
Yeah, so I will put that license plate in the chat. Seth, with no like correlation, could you send me your license plate, please? And so
Just so we can have all of them, representation.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'll put hers after you send me yours.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, she just got a new car. A Lincoln Aviator. She got herself a
Oh.
Lincoln. But like it was really
She got
cool
one of them
because
luxury brands, huh?
I know.
yeah, but no, it was really cool because we went to dealerships this weekend. Um, and she was like, I didn't say a word. And I was like exhausted, but she was doing like all the negotiation stuff, and it was like,
No way.
yeah, dude, she was doing all the negotiations. She like did pretty dang good. It was I don't want to give like too many numbers. She did good. She did good. I'm not gonna give any numbers, but she
That's
did
the way
she
to put
did she
it.
did really good.
Awesome.
It was really cool because like I just got to sat there and watch. Probably for the best honesty, she did better than I think I could ever probably do. But so yeah, no, it was really awesome. It was kind of fun, low key. Um,
Yeah, because you weren't doing anything.
yeah, exactly.
You were
But
just for the
I was
ride.
also like stressed, dude. Like the entire time I'm just sitting here like just sitting there like that.
It's like you're watching a football game.
I know it's like what's gonna happen? What are they gonna hit with next? Um, but yeah, so those are some big things that's happened. And the new cat, and then Nicole getting a new card. So really cool stuff. Really, really
I
exciting, cool stuff.
want to share one last thing real fast, but because you were talking about the cat, and that reminded me, boys, we've made a new milestone with the bird too.
Oh, let's
Oh,
go. No
oh, he's on his
way!
Yo,
shoulder.
That's
That's so
crazy.
yeah, we
cool. He's
made a
on his
new
shoulder.
milestone.
I like how
So,
your face, you're like kind of happy, but you're also a little wary of the giant bird on your.
Yeah. If you guys want to see this picture of a bird on David's shoulder, make sure to view it on the YouTube.
Yeah. Catch
Yeah.
the
like
YouTube
and subscribe to YouTube.
and subscribe
Like and subscribe.
in order.
Yeah, actually, and then go back to every single video and like those too.
And like them all and comment.
And comment, yeah.
Comment for sure. Comment. Comment how cute Seth looks over there.
The rare Seth W.
I know that was great. I was
I know.
actually so caught off guard by the compliment.
Anyways,
Seth is blushing right now. To
he is blushed. If you
Spotify.
want to see a cute Seth blush, make sure to head to YouTube.
Okay.
He's putting both of his index
A
fingers
little-
together repeatedly
Feel
like
a
this.
little objectified.
No. No, Seth, you're just cute, man. But real quick, Seth, since you showed a picture of your parrot, I'm going to show a picture of our new cat, Cleo. This is Cleo.
Oh,
Yeah, she's a cutie.
She's a little baby. This is her like sleeping a little bit.
Very
Oh,
sweet.
Yeah.
relax.
And so yeah. So that's awesome. Things are going great here. But with that, without further ado, time to get into the end of the first part, part two. In today's episode, gonna be a little different. You got a glimpse of it if you stay to the end of last episode, which I'm sure everyone did, so everyone has had a glimpse of it. What we're going to be doing it today is, I think we have 14 chapters. We've divided it somewhat evenly because there's 4 of us, and there's 14 chapters, so some people have a little extra. And so what we're going to do is we're each going to have 4 minutes to just kind of talk about a chapter. So we each kind of get a quick introduction in, and we just kind of talk about a chapter for 4 minutes. Before that, before like it ends, if you want to use a one-time timer increase, you have the ability to do that and double your timer, so you get an additional 4 minutes onto the time you have to talk about your chapter. Or it could, I think we also agreed on, like, if it's not your chapter and you just want to talk about it for some more, you can also use your own timer to increase for that chapter as well. And we wouldn't be able to hold so true to this and be so strict about this if there wasn't a punishment involved, right? So I'm sure, we've talked about our Civ games enough here. So we have like bi-weekly meetups for Civ. We have a Civ game running. And so the punishment will be, if you go over time, you give 10 coins to each person.
Pretty schmeckles, boy.
Yeah, which is
Huge
quite a lot.
economies.
Quite a lot if
Some
you ask me.
economies
It's a
are not
lot of
ready for
points.
that right now.
Yeah.
Lot
Or I, out of the kindness of my own heart, have put in a buy
Oh.
clause, which states that if you owe me 10 coins, you can just give me open borders instead.
Okay.
And
Oh,
that's
benevolent Howie.
perfectly fine with me.
Benevolent now.
Speaking of Civ,
I'm a nice
congrats
guy.
to Connor, our first
Oh yes, congrats,
Civ
Connor.
honorary winner. Clap it up.
Oh, no.
Connor was the winner.
Clap it up.
Oh.
I want you to know that I clap with disdain.
Nothing but resentment.
It wasn't a win. Wasn't a win.
You
You're
were
the only one
gonna
that says
win. We
that.
ended early, but you were gonna win. No need to be modest, Connor. Well,
All right.
with that, Seth, I will let you take it off on the Preachers of Death.
Right, are we ready?
Ready.
We are. Wait, let me get timer
Give
going.
me a countdown.
Okay. Boom. All right. 3, 2, 1.
All right, the Preachers of Death. Zarathustra comes out of talking about the tree on the hill to instead talk about people who preach about our misery and suffering. He has many fun quips to talk about these people that talk about how life is so hard and birth is a mistake and you shouldn't struggle. You should just have a miserable time. He says these people, he says the earth is full of the superfluous. Marred is life by the many to many. May they be decoyed out of this life by the life eternal, which is essentially people hoping because life is suffering, they want to die and move on to an eternal life in the future. Lust is sin, so say some who preach death. Let us go apart and have no children. Giving birth is troublesome, say others. Why still give birth? One beareth only the unfortunate. These are preachers of death. And he pretty much says, if you are talking about how much life sucks, go die then. Just do it. Like, why are you still around? If life is so awful, just end it. Just give up. Which is kind of his point that hoping only for a life in our future that we don't have yet is but to waste away the life that we have now. Thus spoke Zarathustra.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, like, do you guys think that oh man, what's the words? It's like, do you guys think that, like, because obviously he's like, oh well, if life sucks so much, why don't you just, go end it? Well, obviously people don't do that. Do you think that just because there's something in us that really does keep us to the earth? That like doesn't like stops it, like, because maybe we're trying to like illusion ourselves with being like, oh, life on the earth sucks, let's go somewhere else. But like deep down we know that we actually have more here.
I think it's just human nature. The the chemical thing in your brain that's like, hey, you still got to survive though. You still you have to live.
Preserve.
The
Preservation. Yeah,
biology stuff.
Mhm.
yeah.
I do
That's
want
a good
to
point.
kind of talk about how conscious they are about themselves, because there is a little point in the passage where he says they grasp at sweat meats or sweet meats and mock at their childishness thereby. They cling to the straw of life and mock at their still clinging to it.
Yeah.
So a little
Yeah.
bit
They're
of
like
a
aware of their own hypocrisy,
But
yeah, a
that
little
but yet
bit
they
of
still
self
don't act
awareness
on
in
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes them even more miserable. They're like, oh, I hate life. Why am I here being alive?
So I think it really
It's
does come down to just like we need to like just get rid of that feeling of like, oh, I need to be somewhere else. I should, like, there's a better life beyond. And I think that's what he says a lot, That's a big point for him.
It is a
yeah.
big point for him. Those who think about suffering right now.
Yeah. He says, if ye believed more in life, then would ye devote yourselves less to the momentary. But for waiting, ye have not enough of capacity in you, nor even for idling. He's saying that to life is suffering, yes, and to get rid of all of these, you know, some people respond to life being suffering with asceticism, right? They throw away all their worldly desires as a way to get away from the suffering. And he says that is impatience. That is skipping to death instead of enjoying the life before you, enjoying the momentary, and having a good time with the desires that you have right here.
Boom,
Damn.
boom,
Damn.
boom.
One done,
Damn.
boys.
Beautifully done.
One
That
done,
was
That was
nice.
boys.
beautifully closed.
It kind of sucks because I kind of have to focus on the timer too, that I get.
I know
I,
you're,
I'm gonna
yeah.
listen to it in
I
editing
was
anyways. I'm
attention
listening to it
was
when I edit anyway, so it doesn't.
my attention
There
was
you go.
divided between Howie counting down and being like, oh, is he gonna
Yeah.
make it? Is he gonna make it?
I won't lie, I was too.
It makes it a little bit more fun though at the same time.
Yeah.
At the same time, we can always just listen. We'll listen. I mean, we can listen to it.
Hmm.
We can post some stuff. Anyways, Connor, War and
You're up.
Warriors. Let me start
Yes.
this timer for you.
Chapter 10.
Go.
All right. War and Warriors, Chapter 10. So, this was an interesting chapter because it's important to note, too, like, this is the 19th century. This is pre-Great War, right? War during this time period and previously was romanticized, right? It's,
Mhm.
adventure, heroism, all that good stuff, right?
Die in
Uh,
battle with honor and glory.
Exactly. That being said, I don't think he's directly referring to war itself in this chapter. I think it's more of a like a theoretical war, like a debate, right? Or at least that's how I'm taking it whenever I'm reading this. Basically, war is good so long as there is a reason or is a for it, and this reason should be pursuit for knowledge, right? So think debate, pursuit for knowledge. We need good enemies to achieve greater knowledge was a big thing that I was getting from this.
Mhm.
And my okay, so basically my question to you guys is this idea of this war, this debate, right? Um, these good enemies to achieve greater knowledge, and how it will eventually play into my next one, the friend. Um, so I'm going to kind of use my extended timer on the friend part, but
Okay.
what is y'all's opinions of this chapter? Sorry.
Dude,
I think
go
I'll
for it.
say real quick. I think this plays into an idea that I think we're all at least somewhat familiar with. I know I've definitely talked to Howie about this a lot, but is the concept of the rival, which is like the
Mhm.
relationship in your life that is like adversarial, but in a way that helps you grow and like get better every day. Like when I think of like the war with the good enemy, that and like you said, Connor, a theoretical war, not necessarily like, wars between nations per se,
Right.
but conflicts.
Dude,
Conflicts are in human nature, a part of human
Yeah.
nature. And the whole
Mhm.
point of all of this is to not go against your nature.
Yes.
So
what?
saying that
Yeah.
the pursuit should be peace whenever there's conflict in human nature is going against nature. So that's the whole point of this, in my opinion, is that you should strive for this battle, this war. Not in the literal sense, of course, but conflict is in human nature, so don't go against it. Don't just say,
Mhm.
well, I'm a peaceful person, I'm a pacifist. No, you're not. There's conflict in nature.
See, I thought about turning war, like he's like saying like kind of war, now like, everyone fighting each other, but like almost turning that to like an internal war where you're like fighting a war to
Ooh.
self-improve, to like improve
Yeah.
upon yourself, to improve upon your thoughts, even physical, anything like that, just self-improvement, your mental state and stuff like that. And so when I read that, that's kind of what I was thinking. And like as a warrior, you fight a war to figure out your beliefs and stuff, and now you fight for those beliefs just a little bit externally. Like you hold true to your values and all that stuff, and now you become a warrior, fighting for your own values and beliefs.
Yeah. And speaking of the self improvement, a big part of this too was bringing up hate and envy, right? And it's important to note that hate and envy are a part of us even whenever we're great. So again, going against human nature, hate and envy is a part of nature. Don't just say that you don't have these things, because then it's a fib, you're fibbing.
Yeah,
And it's kind of reminiscent of what we were just talking about. These people who talk about how much they hate life, but yet they're still living it. Here again.
yeah.
But these people are like talking about how they hate war, and yet it's an important part of growth as a human.
That's so straight to
Okay, nice guys. I'm actually I'm having a lot of fun with this.
This is fun. It's like a little
God, it's
game.
just
Uh,
whew.
I think it definitely depends on the format of the book. For this one, with like a lot of short chapters, is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
All right, we
Now
gotta.
we have David's turn. We have a little presentation he's got ready for us.
I want
I'm
you to know it's
excited for
so
We're
this.
pulling out
bad.
all the stops on this episode,
I
bro.
know, dude. This is a big production. Hopefully, it's not the first episode you're watching.
Because they will not all be like this.
Yeah. And
Just
so
throwing through the ideas.
so for our audio listeners, David has a little presentation pulled about each of his parts. Um, and just kind of like, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about it all, so it's not like you need to read it. But if you do want to read it
Quick.
and see it, you can head to the YouTube. All right, David, you're ready now.
Well, the new idol. This was a chapter that I did not expect to go the way it went. He starts off by talking about people and the herd and how that is still a thing, but not around them where they are right now. Right now, they live in the state. And in this chapter, what I pretty much got from it and what he's saying, in my opinion, is this new idol is the state. And the state is the death of people and herds.
Okay.
People who are lancing for power within the state are the madmen. They're going into the mud. They're throwing themselves in there. The state hath nothing. He says it right here. A state is the coldest of all cold monsters. But the state lieth, and whatever it hath stolen. The state where the slow suicide is all is called life. I really think that this kind of plays into his idea in the Twilight of the Idols, because I wrote down here, just like he disliked organized religion, I think he was expanding on his disdain towards the state. His form of thinking is, a system of absolute good and evil, which is what the state is going to be or ends up being. Just sucks. That's it. It just sucks. It's not good. That's how another big thing. I'll talk more about that in the next chapters, but it really harps on that good and evil, the value of creating this good and the value of creating your own good and evil. Yeah, that's about all I got from this. I don't know if I'll open the floor up to anything else, but I think this was pretty cut and dry, this first chapter of mine.
One thing I was really curious about, because at the beginning, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I was a little confused. At the beginning, it kind of sounded like he was saying the state was a good thing, but then, like, I think definitely throughout most of it, he was kind of saying the state is like bad. So, like, I mean, am I wrong? Because at the beginning, it kind of sounded like it. Um, Maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to
Well,
like find a sense to say it, but
I
like
feel like it
that's
says like where it says, and where the solitude endeth, there beginneth the marketplace, and where the marketplace beginneth, there begin also the noise of great actors, which sounds like a cool thing, right? But I think actors in this case is like big negative, like evil
Mhm.
liar people,
Yeah.
Mhm.
People who put on a
which
face, a mask.
A mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not the
It-
Mythosisyphus actor.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
These are very much the flies in the
Like fakes,
marketplace.
fakers, yeah.
Mhm. Yes. And I think there's like there's some truth and some not truth to this. I think that we are very much in a state that rewards the great actors. I think that's something we can all resonate with pretty
Yeah.
strongly.
Mm.
But I also think that there's something to be said about community and numbers. But I guess community is different than the state, right?
Yeah, I think community in this sense is
Mm.
definitely more adhered to the people in the herd. And something really big, I didn't even mention this one, but this is one of my big bullets. Blessed be moderate poverty.
Dude,
Uh,
yes. I really like that part
Yeah.
too. Where it's like you don't have so much that corrupts you, but you also have, enough to like live and be fine.
Yeah.
Because I think that's such a big thing is like how power corrupts and stuff. And it's like my moderate poverty are lucky and fortunate because they haven't been corrupted by all this, like the feeling of knowing what power and greed is like, you know?
I think it is interesting too that how you can draw this parallel to the Twilight of the Idols, because it really does feel. So I'm getting stressed now. It really does feel like like he is in this lion phase right now as he's writing this book, but he
Mhm.
metamorphosized into the child state by the time of the Twilight of the Idols.
and thus spoke Zarathustra.
Yeah.
David coming in there to save Connor from the clutches.
Yeah, he did. Swooped in.
Thank you,
Uh,
David. I might just
Got
give you
good.
10 gold for that.
that was really nice. Okay, well, here we go. The flies in the marketplace. Set up. All right, I'm starting it now. So the flies in the marketplace. I like this one a lot too. I'm really glad I got this one because it kind of has two main ideas that I really noticed from it. One is this idea that he starts mentioning and kind of bringing to the talking point is the idea of like solitude and being alone. And this other idea is the kind of what you guys just mentioned before about the actors and how, you go to these little flies in the marketplace and like all they're doing is like buzzing in your ear saying, "Oh yeah, you're great, you're doing fantastic." Flatterers, people who aren't like really like giving you anything of substance. Um, and then as a result, they flatter you, but they're also like behind your back, like talking trash about you. It says here, even when thou art gentle towards them, they still feel themselves despised by thee. They repay thee beneficence with secret maleficence. So it's this idea of how even if you're good to people, they're not going to take it that way. They're going to be like, yo, this guy is actually like hating on us deep down. And so they start to despise you. So no matter like how you treat them, they're going to find a way to some kind of bad talk on you. And so that's why he's saying like about solitude. He's like saying like these good higher individuals are going to always be despised by these bad lower individuals. And so that's why he's saying, we should retreat into solitude to avoid this scenario. And I wanted to ask you guys, is that what you should do? Should we retreat in solitude despite this? Or should we try to, overcome that with a whole group of people? Or this is what I was kind of thinking, it's like a middle ground where like you retract into solitude, but find those who are like-minded as you.
The last point. It'll very much go into the whole friend chapter that I have later. I'll be speaking about later. But yeah, definitely the last one, in my opinion. Like, just find your group that, and it's important to still follow the whole enemy thing that we were talking about earlier. And I'll kind of get into that again with the friend chapter. But still being able to have those people with differing opinions, but still within your group that you still cherish at the end of the day. They still cherish you at the end of the day.
Right. And it's like you can still disagree on things, but
Yeah, exactly.
because they're both you guys are both like open-minded enough to like actually like debate about it rather than like you start a fight or argue about it, which is so important.
Exactly.
Well, in that
Yeah.
case, you think because it sounds like he's like saying you should go into solitude.
Yeah, which honestly, I feel like that's what we're doing right now. I feel like if you look at like the current state, we are retreating into solitude. Everybody's spending more time alone, and they don't feel like they're spending time alone. They're on their phone, but it is time alone. Like, and I don't think it's been helping us. I don't think it's been moving us in a good direction because you can't retreat from these people. Not in the way our current society is set up. So many of the things that I come to enjoy only exist because I'm a part of it.
So the solitude thing's bad. So Nietzsche's just kind of wrong here.
I
Or
think
do
I
you
think
think
he's
he's saying like what we're
I think
trying to
he's
say we
got
should do?
he's got a good symptom, but I think his solution is lacking a little bit in moderation. I think he's calling for something that's a little further away than what we actually need. It's kind of interesting because I think he almost goes against it a little bit in the next chapter, as Connor's going to talk about soon.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like he tends to like say things, but then I think this is part of Nietzsche where it's just like, does he really and thus spoke Zarathustra.
The best part of that was watching how he slow his own countdown down
No,
because
I,
we thought,
I was actually going too fast at first because I'm having to like look at here and
yeah,
talk and then like look.
Yeah.
See, yeah, it's tough because
it's
It's
hard.
I have
tough.
to like look and think and
We
talk.
need,
Maybe we'll
So
have
it's
to
yeah,
kind
have
of
we
a
need
a
like
issue.
an
timer
external.
whenever it's Howie.
Maybe stream a timer. Stream a timer and then we can just
I could just throw one
Oh,
on
that's a good
now that
idea.
I'm already
He's already sharing screen. Yeah, that's good. That's smart.
doing for. But yeah,
Yeah, for
I'll still give it
just they'll give a clap.
audio. Yeah, I mean we have
Okay,
audio
cool.
listeners here. They can't see the
Yeah, it's true. They
timer.
can't see the timer.
So I'll still give the audio. By the way, I don't think I explained this at the beginning. That quack means 1 minute. The badump means 20
I'll
seconds
actually just
left,
use this whenever
and
you're
I
talking, Hal.
count
Okay.
down for 10. Okay, yeah, we do that. Yeah, now let anyone else know but me. I like that.
Maybe I should keep it up.
Well,
All right.
next one, Seth. You got lucky. You got a short one.
Chastity.
Chastity. So David,
I'm just gonna,
are you going to do it or should I
Let's
do it?
both do it at the same time because just in case you have a thought.
Okay.
yeah.
So we'll go ahead and
Okay,
do
you
it.
don't have to look at your own time.
I do
3,
appreciate that.
2, 1.
Chastity. Love it, hate it, live by it, die by it. It's all about it in this chapter. Zarathustra talks about the folly of lust and also the folly of being afraid of lust. He says at the beginning that he loves the forest. It is bad to live in cities there. There are too many of the lustful. Is it not better to fall into the hands of a murderer than into the dreams of a lustful woman? Goes in to talk about how lust will drain at your soul. You're constantly wanting something you can't have. It is by definition, we think of it in a sexual sense, but it can be applied outside of that. The want of something that you will never be able to have, something that you're not supposed to have. That's the thing about lust. It doesn't stop once you've achieved your goals. It continues going. But he also believes that those who fall into chastity can lead towards a different kinds of degeneration. And kind of the main idea he wants to talk about is how chastity should come from within. Think of Marcus Aurelius talking about how the thoughts in your head should be willing to be shared at any moment, should have no shameful thoughts. He says, verily, there are chaste ones from their very nature. They are gentler of heart and laugh better and oftener than you. They also laugh at chastity and ask, what is chastity? Is chastity not folly? But the folly came unto us, and not we unto it. We offer that guest harbor and heart. Now it dwelleth with us. Let it stay as long as they will. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Longest intro ever.
Yeah, with this one, the other thing I got from it to like add to it, well, one was so kind of what you mentioned, like let chastity just come. Do not force it. Because if you force it, it's like kind of what I mentioned before about like find your instincts in a sense, and like it actually cause greater harm to you. But the other main thing I got was he says here, do I counsel you to slay your instincts? I counsel you to question mark. I counsel you to innocence in your instincts. So, and this goes back, this kind of like explains a little bit more about Charlie and the Idols when he's talking about like, you should have your instincts. Here it's not saying like, oh yeah, even your bad ones. Here he's saying that you should actually have your instincts, but put innocence in them. Put like almost kindness and goodness into your instincts. Almost develop them in that sense. And so what I think he's trying to say is like as a result of like being innocent in your instincts and putting good in them rather than like being lustful, which obviously he is not a fan of, it as a result turns into a kind of chastity, and natural, like instead of like being forced. So I think he's saying like chastity is good, but you have to let it come. You have to like um just flow naturally, because if you force it, you haven't attacked the like root cause, which is the innocence for your instincts.
I do want to say that I kind of thought you were going to take this in another way, and I was almost going to think innocence and lust, and I don't know how that exactly would be. Let me have some semblance of idea, but I'm not entirely sure how that would be applied, because I'm really still very honed in on that. Hone your instincts and like point, hone it to a sharp point. Which in a weird way could lust be used in a positive light? I mean, he talks a lot about instincts, even the negative ones, being used to further yourself. So I don't know. Maybe this lust, this envy, or things like that, jealousy. I mean, in my case, I felt envy helped me do something better, but we'll see how lust could be used.
I spoke
There we
there,
go.
Zarathustra.
There we go. We're getting better.
We're getting better. We're getting better. Okay, and
It's
now
stressful.
it
It's
is
so
stressful,
scary.
dude.
When we start counting down, it's like a
Think of
shiver down
how
your
hard it
spine.
is when on my last one, where I was literally looking at a timer countdown while I'm trying to speak my thoughts. Oh my gosh.
God. All
Um,
right. I think we'll finally be able to like chillax on this next one.
Yes, I will be
yeah,
using
because
my
I wrote a
boost
lot
bonus.
here,
You're gonna
so
use
we
it ahead
need
of
that.
time. You're letting
Yes.
us know right now.
Yes,
All
I
right,
think we can
so
talk a good amount about the
So
friend.
may as well just make it
Okay.
8
yeah, make the
minutes.
timer
Yeah,
8 minutes.
pop the 8 minutes. He's not gonna come in. You gotta play the noise though. You gotta
Yeah,
do it. You gotta play
yeah,
the
I'll
noise.
play a noise. Yeah, I'll play a noise.
Yeah.
When we get to like 2 minutes, I'll keep it the same.
No. Connor's got to play the noise for calling his timeout.
Oh yeah, Connor, play a
Oh,
noise.
yeah. Okay. A fucking boomer when it comes to this shit.
All right, guys, it's our first time.
Booyah! Timeout!
Yeah.
Double time!
Double time.
Double time. All right, Connor. Let me count the shit
Have the
down.
floor.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Chapter 14, The Friend. Okay, so this kind of goes along with the flies in the marketplace and the enemy or war and warriors, right? Because in a certain sense, we were just talking about how is it better to, hermitize, kind of just seclude yourself, or is it better to, do whatever, right? Well, that's why I was bringing up the friend, is because here I'll actually just read a passage for once.
There we go.
It's the second section here. It says, I and me are always too earnestly in conversation. How could it be endured if there were not a friend? So basically, a friend is there to basically save you from yourself. Um, and it's important to have a friend for that meaningful dialogue. Because otherwise, if you're just with yourself, you're basically bouncing the same ideas that you already have. You're not gaining new knowledge. With a friend, you have someone that can bounce off new ideas with. But not only that, he later says that almost like an enemy, a friend is someone who will challenge you, and challenge you and your beliefs. And the fact that if they bring up something, it's important for you not to just submit to it face value. It's important for you to stay true to yourself, stay true to your beliefs, and try to counteract it. And in the idea with the whole conflict, if you know your idea turns out to not be the true one, the correct one, it's not a loss because you still gained something from it. Um, so I guess my question to you guys is, or thus spoke Zarathustra. My question to you guys is, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the importance of a friend, and its comparison to the hermit, or secluding yourself like the flies in the marketplace, or the whole warriors and war and warriors with conflict.
I mean, I feel like this chapter kind of answered all of the qualm concerns I had with what he was talking before, where he kind of directly addresses this seclusion and moderation idea that we've been kind of touching on.
Mhm.
Um, I think in parts of this, I still have an issue with applying it to our current world just because of some of the things about it that are different. But I still think there's a lot of value when I think about my own past, times where I spent um, just spending time with everybody I could possibly spend time with in college, just having, like, steak is too juicy, like too many friends moment. But it actually sucks. It's hard. And I mean, David literally saw firsthand the way I like absolutely fell apart trying to maintain all of that while we lived together. And I think on the other side of that, there were times where I ran away from everybody and I was sick of it all, and I was equally as miserable in those times. Nowadays, I have this happy medium where I'm surrounded by people that uplift and move me forward, and that's led to the most growth in my life of any of these periods.
I
But it's spitting here.
there for me, there's like a lot I took away from this chapter. Um, One thing I think that that I'm gonna kind of spit off Seth is like there have been times when I or Seth we've talked about this, maybe even on the podcast, but like how you tend to look for a friend for like you tend to like think they owe you something, or like um they should act a certain way. Like you kind of project onto them how you expect them to or want them to treat you or act. And it puts about this idea of perfection among them.
Mhm.
Like his friends to be perfect. When in reality, like that's just not true. And you can't even, and at that point, it's like, is it really even a friend when you like have this idea of like who they are when that's not who they actually are? Um, he says, in dividing and keeping silence shall the friend be a master. Not everything must thou wish to see. And this is kind of like two things. It's that idea of like, a friend can't be perfect because no humans are perfect. Everyone's flawed. So we shouldn't look for perfection. But the other part too is, we shouldn't look for perfection. And dividing and keeping silence shall the friend be a master. The friend needs to know at the same time not to say too much or say everything about themselves, because as a result, um it could almost like even ruin the friendship. This person could judge you in a certain sense or things of this nature. I mean, I'm not saying we should be friends with people who will judge us, but like kind of leave something up to the imagination, I think, is what he's trying to say. I had an idea there, and it just didn't. I don't think it really clicked. I don't know if anyone
Well,
can.
this might kind of get back to you, but it's like this idea of unsolicited advice, dude. Like that's something I struggle with all the time. I just love yapping. I just love telling people what I think they should do. Sometimes nobody gives a fuck what I think they should do. Like that's not why they're talking to me, you know. Just want to be heard. Want to bounce their ideas off of somebody, you know. Um, and so I think I think that's kind of a little bit of what he's touching on here, Howie, is this idea that it's like this chapter lays out not only the friends you should look for, but how to be the friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't look.
Uh,
Or kind of,
no, go for it. Go for it.
I'll just say like kind of like back that up. It's just like a real quick thing. Like you shouldn't look for perfection in your friend, but you should also, because like if you look too closely, like you're gonna be disappointed and they're just a person. But you should also try to um give that impression that you aren't perfect at the same time. It's kind of a two-way street, I think.
It reminds me
Yeah.
of a quote specifically.
You're calling
Okay.
another
Ooh,
bonus timer.
I
another
am.
He wants
bonus
to keep
timer.
he wants to keep going instead of
And
5
that does
minutes.
Yeah, just do 5 minutes.
5. Okay.
Yeah, because there's like
That
1 minute
does
left when he called it. I
the
was thinking about
quote
doing
that
that too, Howie, so I'm glad you did it. So I don't have to, I can keep mine.
I got
the
you.
quote that made me think of specifically was one that goes. This is a quote that I was listening to, or I really spoke with me during a time with my life when I was going through a transition, and it was when you're looking for a partner, make a list. You know, maybe this, and not even maybe this could be applied to friends. This could be applied to anybody. But when you're looking for someone, make a list of what qualities you want that person to have, and then become that list.
Mm.
I mean, it speaks
Mhm.
exactly to what you're saying. You can't expect perfection if you yourself aren't perfect. Everyone's gonna have some
Yeah.
flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
no.
thing, another point I want to bring up, now we have more time, is this one sentence right here. One ought still to honor the enemy in one's friend. Canst thou nigh unto thy friend and not go over to him? And when I read this part, it was really interesting to me because I think it's someone like we don't like to think about, but it's actually like true, and we shouldn't blind ourselves to. It's the idea that friends can actually turn into enemies. Um, and so like a friend can turn into an enemy, and an enemy can also be a friend. We kind of talk about rivals, where like they're an enemy, but they're also kind of a friend. They have a certain like this like level of respect for the person, and you know they're in a sense kind of like a friend. Um, Same thing with a friend turning into an enemy. You can have like two people who like are friends and are hanging out with each other and stuff, but then maybe later in life it gets to a point where one person, like the ambitions of both people, which I would think that if like we're following like rules here, like the step-by-step plan, both people are probably gonna be a little ambitious. um it can almost turn into where you guys might not agree on something, and that's perfectly fine, but now you kind of turn into a little bit of enemies. But you have to remember as well that that's okay. They can still be your friend. You know what I'm saying? That you guys can have different ideologies, and that's okay. You guys are both trying to reach two different things and might butt heads a little bit, but just keeping that mutual respect between each other, that like keeps y'all as friends. But it's also like a warning to people like, hey, yo, don't always think everyone's just your friend. Sometimes, they might be friends and then they turn to enemies, and kind of like keep both eyes open a little bit. Don't take everyone for face value.
Yeah. Be at least mine enemy. Thus speaketh the true reverence, which doth not venture to solicit friendship.
And
The
one's
Yes,
friend,
original
one
there's
enemy
shall
is
have
there's
not
a
purpose.
entirely.
wow, all 4 of us. Connor, you want to finish your thought?
No, just go ahead.
I was just
Uh,
gonna say like there's a respect for the enemy.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know?
I was just gonna say that I like that enemy is not being used in such a negative way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was
Classic
said that
Nietzsche
was,
moment.
yeah, really, it really is. It really is. Something
Turning
that he
words
said
on their
earlier
head.
was
Yeah.
your enemy's success is your own success, so be grateful for your enemy's success.
Yeah.
That
One
was one of the chapters before.
One thing I always love to quote when I think about when I was thinking about this. Always love to quote something I want to quote when thinking about this. Right? Um, is there's that you guys have heard of Hannibal Barca and you've heard of maybe Scipio Africanus. But basically, during the Punic Wars, back 2,000 years ago, um, Scipio Africanus basically beats this dude Hannibal, who's just running amok all over fucking Rome at the time. He's this bad dog that was in the Italian peninsula for like 10 years, just fucking burning shit, and no one could beat him, right? Well, eventually, Scipio Africanus beats him, and later on in life, they basically sit down and talk, and it's like a discussion between equals, and I think that's just beautiful. Like this dude's managed to beat like Rome's greatest enemy, and they were talking, and Scipio's like, "Who do you think would be considered the greatest general of all time?" And Hannibal Barca says, "Well, if you hadn't beaten me, it would probably be me, but I don't think it's you."
See, but that's the thing. That's
Awesome.
the thing. Like, in a sense, like they're companions because they both recognize on each other, both on the same mental level. You know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I do think it's also very important to like mention again to kind because it's an important thing I think in life that happens is like don't just like you don't just assume someone's gonna be a friend forever. Kind of like try to keep an eye on them too, to be like, hey, this person could turn into an enemy, so I can't just give this guy everything and expect everything back.
yeah. That's book there's right.
Nailed it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Awesome. The double time. Look at that.
I know I
Yeah,
wasn't
that
going
was
to, but I'm like, oh, dude, there's like two other things I want to talk. I only talked about one too. There's
yeah.
like, I was like, oh, we gotta keep this going.
You're
That's one of the
flying.
parts of the lightning round. Sometimes you got to leave some stuff on the table,
Yeah, that's how it should be when you do podcasts over a whole book. All right,
There. True.
David, I'm
Back to the
starting you.
slideshow,
Okay,
boys.
3, 2, 1, and you're off.
The 1,001 goals. Well, man, there was a lot in this one for me personally. I don't even know if I can fully summarize it, but okay, Zarathustra talks first about
1,001 goals in there.
yeah. He
That's a lot
talks
of
about
goals.
the greatest power. He's talked to so many people. Gone through he's gone to so many places. But the one greatest power that Zarathustra finds is that of good and evil. In this chapter, he talks a lot about values and how values are created, the creativity that goes into values. God, there's I have so much here that it's like hard to like actually talk all about it. But I guess honestly that's kind of the main summary. But I kind of want to go more to my ideas from this. What I first got was again 1,001 goals. Many of goals have been sought. Many people have different values. What some may idolize, others may hate. May be decorated in purple hearts, others may disdain with all of their heart. Um, but the one big power of all of that is the creation of the value. Man being able to create value, the creativity that goes into making a value for yourself. And one big thing that he says here is if people will maintain itself, then it must not value as its neighbor valueth. And I think that's a big idea here in this chapter as well. Not following the values of everyone else and making your own, going back to that whole camel, lion, child, looking at the world with innocence, making this creative venture to make your values. It's the greatest power that he found. Know it and own it. I think I'm just gonna do this real
All
fast.
right, I got you. I got you.
I
You're
think what he was trying to talk about
that.
yeah, I think what he's trying to talk about specifically at the very end there was something about creating one value for all of humanity. He specifically made a little quote at the very end, right here. If the goal of humanity be still lacking, is there not also still a lacking humanity? It's this book that there's
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
Shoot, that's there
dude,
was just so much to that. You take the floor, guys. That's like my thoughts, my idea.
Seth, you can go.
I think that we're very goal oriented, at least in America. Everybody talks about what you've achieved, what you've done, but I don't think anybody, and nobody like, it's so innate that nobody thinks about like, what are the goals I'm creating. Nobody actually takes the time to create effective and good goals, and that was something that kind of like changed my life, was changing the framework I had for looking at goals. And I'm going to steal something from CGP Grey, everyone's favorite Redditor. But he talks
CGP
about
Grey.
like year-long themes instead of New Year's resolutions. And kind of the idea for that is that when you have a goal, a specific resolution, you can fail. When it's a theme over the course of the year, you can continuously fail and get back up again and keep trying and keep pursuing your theme. That changed everything for me because it was a different way to look at values. And I think that's kind of what he's touching on here, that there's so much creativity in coming up with an effective value that actually moves you forward.
The greatest power. I do want to say also, on talks about solitude and your friends, your enemies, and in this chapter he does talk about, and it's right here. I'll read it. Older is the pleasure of the herd than the pleasure of the ego. First, people were creators, and only in later times individuals. Truly, the individual himself is still the latest creation. Kind of the way
Oh,
I took this was
whoa.
people used to be more goal oriented for the community, and as
Yeah,
we live in today's society, it's a very much how do I to achieve over other people. The ego is it's newer. It's a lot newer to be value and goal oriented for yourself and for your own gain. Which kind of how do you think how do y'all think that plays with the solitude with saying no to the flies in the marketplace? Because part of me, are we taking flies along with us through the marketplace? Not inherently like telling, oh, come with me, but through example, maybe. I don't know.
Real quick, that is such an interesting line. I can't believe I didn't write or
yeah,
mark
that's
that down.
fire.
Like, but
Awesome
the
line.
fact that even back then he was like, "Man, we're getting a lot of individuals now." Like, isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
yeah,
And nowadays, I feel like everybody thinks they're an or
yeah,
everybody is an individual nowadays.
yeah,
Like, that's interesting.
yeah. I think to answer your question, David, I think that individualism and the state, individualism and the marketplace, they can exist together. We have a very strong state and yet many individuals. I think it's fair to believe that Nietzsche is advocating for people whose values do help the community and the world around them, even if they are not subscribed or locked in to these creeds, these states. You know, that's the thing, is like, if I wanted to revoke my citizenship, that's an ordeal. You know, I didn't choose to be here. The big difference than having a group of people that you want to impact.
I think part of it too is like the only way, because I do kind of think that, and I don't know if he's very much like this, because I think, in the myth of Sisyphus, for example, right? It was very much on like, everyone is redeemable. He doesn't really seem like that. So he might be just trying to say like, we have a specific group of people that can do this. But I think when it comes to the flies, you almost need to do like a ripple effect, because a lot of the time the flies will tend to go towards the majority idea, or like a very strong idea, even if it's not necessarily the correct one. So if you're able to spread this like good idea along through multiple people, and like, more and more and more until it builds up to this massive idea, then you're able to draw in the flies with your giant light and lead the
Wait,
way.
you're okay. You're so right because that entirely plays on what he said at the very end. Having that one overarching goal for all of society, for all of humanity to actually make it human.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to mention too. Like, one of the biggest things I got from this one was the idea that he thinks humanity should be really just united towards one goal, which is the creation and betterment of humanity, which I agree with that a lot. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, that's really a big idea. It's like these change of values. Everyone's still kind of an individual. Everyone still has their own values, but they lead towards this betterment of humankind, and I think that's kind of like his unified goal is this betterment of humankind and humanity as a whole. We can thus book Zarathustra if we want, and we don't have to end directly on time unless anyone has anything
I'm
else.
down. I like the wrap up. I'll give you this one.
All right,
Yeah.
thus spoke.
Thus spoke Zarathustra.
Sir.
Thus spoken.
1,001 gold.
All right, now it's time for
Neighbor love.
the one that I
Neighbor
didn't
love.
really resonate with too much.
Neighbor love.
Love thy neighbor.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be pretty fast on this one. This is kind of the
Right.
one where I might not talk too much about, so we might end this one a little bit early too. But we'll see. Who knows? Okay, starting timer. 3, 2, 1. Now.
Go.
Okay. So neighbor love. So again, kind of same thing as the first one. It's kind of two main ideas I got from here. One is let me refresh myself. One of the main ideas is you almost use this idea of being kind to your neighbor or neighbor love as a result of wanting to feel praised or feel better about yourself. So you want someone to praise you so you feel good about yourself, and that's his issue. Um, and so he thinks that really this form of neighbor love is, or it's just like love for the purpose of getting love back is a bad thing because it's not pure love in a sense, right? Because you're wanting something in return. You're wanting to be praised back. And so he thinks that um, by doing this kind of love, it shows actually an insecurity of, you aren't in tune with yourself. You don't love yourself. You aren't happy with your own life. And that's why you try to seek this external validation by almost faking a sense because you don't actually this person. You just want love for love back, for praise back. And so he leads that into, these people are actors, going back to the actors. He's like, these people are actors. They're just kind of faking it. Um, and so he says not to do this, but to have an actual friend. Back to the friend again. Not the neighbor do I teach you, but the friend. Let the friend be the festival of the earth to you, and a forestate of the Superman. Which it just kind of goes back to the friend. I'll read this one line too. I teach you the friend and his overwhelming heart. But one must know how to be a sponge if one would be loved by overflowing hearts. And just this idea of like, know how to take kindness into it. As much as it's like, give out the right kind of kindness, also know how to take kindness into yourself, be thankful, say thank you and all that stuff. Kind of back to the idea of the friend where it's like, don't look for this perfect thing from them, but then also make sure internally to expect kindnesses back as well, like be able to take it in.
He said that he didn't resonate with this and then spent 50% of the time on the intro.
Yeah, dude, maybe I need to fast some intros.
Why
but,
did you not resonate with it?
Well,
Yeah, what about that? Did you not mess with
it's just
it?
two main
Put
so
it back on the floor.
it's just two main ideas, but it's like at the same time I said more than I think I like needed to. It's really just kind of I think a basic idea of like, oh, I'm looking for love in someone else, or I'm looking for something in someone else. I really want money, and as a result, it represents an insecurity in oneself. Like, oh, I really want money, love money, but it's like, well, maybe that's because you're just insecure of how poor you are, or something like that. Um, so I thought that was a basic idea, as well as like, I didn't really have too much about the friend. I just know how to take in kindness, have friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really easy to fall into this trap. Of course, you're just going to gravitate towards people who make you feel good. That's kind of just part of being a human, right?
That's
And I
that
think
human experience.
I think the interesting part about this is I think it's very common to hear, because we live in what I would call a low trust society, to hear, oh, watch out for people that are nice, watch out for people that make you feel good. They could be trying to take advantage of you. You got to think about their motives, because there's something, the flies, the marketplace, right? What this kind of turns it on its head is like, watch out for people that make you feel good, because you might be trying to take advantage of them. You might just be in it for what they give you and not actually in it for what you can give to them. which is
Thus
kind of
spoke,
what Zarathustra be saying.
thus spoke Zarathustra.
Like that last idea there.
My bad. I really didn't mean to take up all of that. I really thought it was gonna be fast.
I was just messing with you, Howie. Funny.
I know. Okay, well
All
said.
right.
The
The
way,
way of the creating one.
indeed. So tell us. I like the creating one idea a lot. But Seth,
There
you
we go.
tell us about it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. All right. So this kind of stacks on a lot of what we talked about with solitude. And I didn't really understand the title until just about now, because I realized that what he's talking about is how the creative one can be isolated, but you got to watch out for the dangers of isolation. Some of those dangers are the good and just people, for they look to crucify you. They're afraid of the thoughts of those who are alone, who are afraid, who are far from the herd. He says, be on their guard also against holy simplicity. All is unholy to it that is not simple. Simplicity is nice, but don't let it be your only guiding light, because then you'll run away from things that are complicated. But the worst enemy is yourself. You have to watch out for yourself and all the dangerous ways that you will be your own villain, your own enemy. Be careful. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Who's afraid of
Keep on
themselves?
riffing, Seth. Keep on
Raise
riffing.
your hand if you're afraid of yourself.
Well, afraid of yourself in what way?
I'll raise my hand. I don't need clarification. I think that I think that if you think about it, like some of this is something my girlfriend and I were actually talking about recently, that some of the most creative moments in our lives were the times of incredible anguish. And it's kind of interesting how that solitude and sadness can birth the creativity. And when he's talking about the way of the creating one, he's telling in here it's not easy, you know. And it's not for everybody. I like this line. Art thou one entitled to escape from a yoke? Many a one hath cast away his final worth when he has cast away his servitude. Which, you know, not sure how I feel about that, but I like the idea that it's like not everyone deserves to be a creator. Not everyone deserves to be an individual, right? You're not entitled to be out of the herd, to be out of servitude. Sometimes that's your lot, to be a servant.
Yeah,
And maybe
kind of.
I'll say, and maybe that kind of plays into his idea of having a value that supports the humanity around you, being a servant.
Well, see, what I was kind of thinking when he said that was, I think one of his biggest issues is how people have these beliefs, but not their own beliefs. Beliefs that have been put onto them, and as a result, constrain them when they're not their own values. And so, what I kind of got from that was, has cast away his servitude, not being a servant to other people's beliefs anymore, but rather having your own beliefs and deciding to follow those.
Hmm.
And as a result, you're able to create. And I realized I keep on forgetting to do the duck, but that's okay.
So you're saying he's not saying that they're worth as in like what they're worth, but they've cast away the thing that gives them worth by casting away their servitude.
Well, casting away what gives them worth, but only what other people have decided gives them worth. And they replace it with, I think that's the lion stage, is they cast it away. And the child stage is where they replace it with their own idea of what worth is. And that's when you reaches creation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think when we're talking about worth, right, and what you get from the freedom from worth, we'll close it out with this last thing. He says, free from what? What doth that matter to Zarathustra? Clearly, however, shall your eye show up to me. Free for what?
Damn.
There we go. Okay. On next. Connor, we have
All right,
old and
Connor, our
young
favorite
woman.
chapter.
Connor's favorite. Let's start
Edward, I just
off
want
by
everyone to know
saying yes.
this is Connor's favorite chapter of the entire
Yeah,
Connor
at
book.
said
the
he
beginning, he
resonated
said,
with
I'm
it.
so glad I got assigned the old and young woman.
You
I'm
guys
actually
are
really
trying to cancel
surprised he
me.
had I was surprised he uses like 4 minute X double time earlier.
Yeah, I thought he was
No,
gonna
I
I
just
save
swear
it
you
for
was using on
this.
this one.
yeah. And with that
No chat. No chat. This will be a quick chapter, okay?
Yeah, that's what
with
Howie said.
with that
Yeah.
lovely with that lovely
3 minutes
introduction,
later into Connor's like diatribe.
I was like, well, guys, I thought it was gonna be fast. I guess I like this chapter more than I
I
thought.
didn't realize it resonated so much with me.
I didn't realize I was going to give you all 300 gold. This is crazy.
Okay, Connor. Well, I'll let you take it away. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so basically, this is up there with one of the most sexist things I've ever read in my entire life. I hated every second of it.
Which line struck out to you?
This one struck
What's your
out to me
worst
the
line?
most. It said, so basically, this older woman is like talking to him, right? And then he's just basically he answers her with this. He says, "And I answered her, concerning women, one should only talk unto men."
I personally was a fan of a plaything let women be, pure and fine like the precious stone, illuminated with the virtues of a world not yet come. Let the beam of a star shine in your love. Let your hope, the hope of a woman, say, may I bear the Superman. Like the only
Yeah, the
purpose
one
of
that
a
The part
woman is
the
to
one that
give birth to a man.
dude, literally, to me it was so bad.
So bad.
Where was it? Oh, everything in a woman is a riddle. Everything in woman has one solution. It is called pregnancy.
the part that really resonated with me
God.
was the happiness of man is I will. The happiness of woman is he will.
Okay, so when I was reading this, okay, whenever I started this, I was like, okay, he's playing devil's advocate, but then it just went on and on
It
and
never
on.
stopped.
I was like, where's the twist, man? Where's the oh wait, but actually this happened. This is the whole chapter, guys.
Maybe the
So
twist was the
yeah.
chapter you read along the way.
Yeah. The
The whole
twist
chapter,
was
yeah.
I stopped reading for the day. I said, I need some brain rot to forget what I just read.
This,
This is enough for me.
Yeah,
this is that
so
19th century thought.
Yeah.
honestly,
Okay.
this is the millennia thought that lasted for way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only notes I wrote for this chapter was sexist fucker. Above the title of this chapter, I just wrote the word nope. Period. Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically hard veto on this chapter, even though we've already gotten half the time.
Bro, he
Well,
literally said women have shallow water as a soul, and men's soul, however, is deep.
yeah, it's
Of
kind of crazy.
course.
Of course.
Well, he said this part too, which I'm just like, bro, this is like historically wrong. He said, man shall be trained for war, and woman for the recreation of the warrior. All else is folly." I'm like literally thinking about like, especially in like Roman history. I forgot who exactly it was. I think it was like a tribe or something. Like women were literally the warriors. Like no, in Sparta, actually, just
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sparta by
that's
itself.
Yeah.
In Sparta by itself, women were literally warriors, and they were like,
No, you're thinking of
actually,
Amazonians.
no,
Amazonians.
Yeah.
No, there
there
was
were
it.
women warriors in Sparta. I'm
yes.
Well,
pretty
I
sure.
remember
so
Sparta
the
having
thing
immense respect for women.
they did. So this is the important thing about Sparta. I might use extra time for this.
No,
You already
can
did.
already
You already
used yours.
did.
I'd use it. And, okay, basically, so women could inherit land in Sparta,
I
right?
like this.
And basically, so many men would die in Sparta that it eventually became that so many women owned most of the land in Sparta to the point where they had so much wealth and influence that they could actually veto laws. And whenever kings would want to go, because Sparta was a diarchy, so they had two kings, two royal families descending from the same royal family, but basically thus spoke theirs.
Awesome.
Well,
This Nietzsche missed here with this one.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that
pretty
was a
bad. It was like
big Nietzsche
factually just
L.
incorrect too. Like that's the other
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like
not good.
I
Awesome.
don't know. Anyways, we can move
Well, what
on.
did Nietzsche know
They
about
can't all be
Star-Lord?
bangers.
Yeah. Gotta miss sometimes, right? The bite of the adder,
All right, let me pull up my
David.
last slide here, boys. This will be a nice quick one. This is more of a question-filled one.
Really, I was kind of excited to talk about this one. All right, well, David,
Let me
I
know when.
shall let you go in 3, 2, 1. All you.
All right, summarize the whole thing. Zatter bit Zarathustra, and then Zarathustra said thanks. Um,
Thanks, man.
so that was basically it. But obviously, the inner message was very much of the idea, which is weird. Is it goes against the Christian idea of turn the other cheek, and it was kind of more, do bad too, hit him back. And that was an interesting because he says the worst thing you could do is make them feel embarrassed, as if you're higher than them and you're higher than the person one who's insulted you. Instead, do something back. And I'm just curious about what your thoughts are
I have two
on
two
that one.
things, two ideas. I'm just gonna spin them off real quick, and then we can talk about them. One idea is the idea of reverse psychology. I think that's what he was kind of saying, like thanks, like to Adder buying him, like reverse psychology. Make them think that like if someone's trying to do bad to you, make them think that they actually did good to you. In a sense, they'll be like, oh well, let me reverse that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And it might actually, instead of like making someone think they did bad to you, like it might make them angry and build resentment. The turning it of the other way of like, oh, they've done good onto me, makes them feel a little bit more calm in a sense. The other thing was the idea of, and this is like an idea I think, especially in Japan, was if someone did an injustice upon you or like the whole group, if you are the one in power and the leader, it's important that you dish out a punishment on that person. One, because it allows the resentment of all the other people in the group to, feel like they've just been repentant, and two, makes the other person like lose their sense of guilt for what they have done. Um,
Mhm.
Another thing that's like a little bit more like power hungry is like if you had yourself cause the injustice, is find a scapegoat. That's I'm not saying that's what people should do, but like that's just another thing.
I do. This is an interesting one, and I kind of maybe thought of it as take your feelings head on, or whatever bad things come upon you, take it head on. Um, he says, and rather be angry than abash anyone. And when ye are cursed, it pleaseth me not that ye should then desire to bless. Rather curse a little also. And should a great injustice befall you, then do quickly 5 small ones besides.
Yeah.
Again, in a weird way, I kind of morphed into my brain as take all of that and face again. I'm just repeating myself. Face it head on. Lastly, almost one of the most important parts. I think we're coming up on the end of time. Don't wrong the hermit. Their well is
Oh
deep.
right, yeah.
Their well is deep,
They won't forget.
and it's not so
They won't
easy to
forget the
climb
injury
out
you've done
of.
to them.
No. So if you're gonna harm them, you may as well just kill them.
That that
That's
that
what
right
he
there,
said.
that right there though, very Machiavellian. Let me tell
That's
you, very Machiavellian.
Who is the
Um,
hermit?
the one who's in
uh
solitude.
yeah.
Oh,
He
okay.
he doesn't say it's not called the hermit. It's the anchorite. That's what it's called in our book.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it's
But
called
I
here.
looked it up because I didn't make sure. I wanted to make sure what it was in the hermit.
Basically, yeah. And so, yeah, so don't injure them because they'll hold a grudge longer because they're like seething on it in their solitude, And so it's easier for them to like hold on to it and then like build up resentment, and then they'll like fight back on you and, maybe fight against you and hold this grudge, right?
The hermit is
They're
that
just
one.
sitting in their cabin. They're like, that little fucker.
That's Book Zarathustra.
Nice. Well done. Oh, I
Okay.
got that one in there in the very end.
You did. I forgot. I forgot. I'm supposed to be counting. I'm like
With
holding my
no
book.
countdown, too. That's so ballsy to put yourself out there for that one.
I was holding the book in like my hands, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like I had like 2 seconds. Like, "Oh shit!" I have to start counting down on my hands. And the child and marriage. I I'm excited to talk about this one. I was actually going to use my 4 minutes. Oh, okay. Well, I'm talking too much already. So
All right.
three,
Three. Yeah.
2, 1, go. So the child in marriage. So originally when I read this one, I was thinking the same thing about like how Connor's chapter went with the young and old woman. I'm like, bro, this guy's just about dog on marriage and children. And I'm like, it's gonna suck. Um, but it turned into something, at least my interpretation of it, which might not have been what he was trying to say. My interpretation of it turned a little better. I mean, this could maybe not be what he's trying to say because he's kind of dogging a woman first, but like, I took it as like he's almost trying. Like, I took it as like, okay. I mean, we see this in today's world where like some people just aren't ready for kids, and they have kids anyway. Like some people just haven't gone through like maybe gone through a trauma or there's something still about them that like they still haven't uh overtaken or gone over yet.
Overcome.
Yeah, overcome. And as a result, they aren't great people. They aren't great people that have children, especially because then they like scar or trauma their own children.
Mhm.
Um, and so what I got from this was it's important to one become a better place, like self-love and all this stuff, like become a better mental place, and then find someone who's also gone into like reach a state of like a better mental space and all this kind of stuff. Like someone who can also raise a kid well. And so, and as a result, now you guys have kids together. Marriage is great because you both are confident and all this stuff. And as a result, now you have a kid, and this kid also ends up great, if not better. Which he's saying like that should be a goal of marriage when you have a kid. And I agree. Like I think all parents want their children to be like better than they are. And I think that's kind of what I took from it was like, you should try to meet with people who are of similar minds and of a better mindset so we can have kids together and, allow them to grow more as people to the point of better than yourself.
I want to say an idea that always stuck with me, and it was something that I think you told me, Seth. I was like, that's crazy. Is in marriage, it's better to love each other more than the kid.
Yeah. 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 Because
I'll let you
when
explain it.
you don't love and respect each other, kid knows, bro. Kid knows. Kid walks into the kitchen, he sees the way you're looking at each other. Kid knows. And the only thing that's worse for a kid than you not going to their baseball game is you fighting every night because you don't love your wife. Like you gotta cultivate love for each other because that will forever be the blueprint for your child as to what love looks like. So if you haven't figured it out with each other, like you're not really setting your kid up for success. Just kind of counterintuitive. And it's even Nietzsche speaks a little bit to this in this chapter where he
Yeah.
says, "Marriage, so call I the will of the twain to create the one that is more than those who created it. The reverence for one another as those exercising such a will, call I marriage." Reverence and becoming greater as one than you were separate has to be your goals.
And that's the thing that like I think that he say doesn't like, choosing because he mentions too like choosing a poor partner for yourself, right? Because it can lead to that
Yeah.
kind of fights, which the children notice. And the other thing too is I think he doesn't like, which goes back to the kind of like hatred on religion, is that people will just say, oh well, we're married because the heavens bestowed it upon us. No, you should be married because you guys are a good couple and both great and want great things for each other and for your future children. Thus Boog Zarathustra.
Nice. Nailed it. Fire.
And so now we move on to the
21.
voluntary death. 2 more chapters to go, guys. I'm excited.
It's crazy that
We
we've
still
gone through
have
12
one.
I know.
chapters.
We still have one
Yeah,
double time.
I still have mine and saving it.
And Seth word over there. He's like, I
All
didn't
right.
make him use
You
it for
ready?
the
Order.
friend. Okay. All right, Seth. 3, 2, 1, go.
Voluntary death. This chapter is prime Nietzsche. He's in his bag. He's telling you to die. And exactly when to die? When it's right. all this chapter is about is the idea that some die too late and some die too early. But it sounds really strange, the idea of dying at the right time. How do you know that you're dying at the right time? The thing is it sounds strange, but I think all of us kinda have an image in our head of people who die too early. That's pretty easy, right? Tragic deaths, young deaths. The people who die too late, the people who are holding on to a life that's been long gone, right? That is kind of the idea that he's talking about. And I think that to focus this specifically on actual life and death is to miss the point. Because when he talks about the right time to die, he says, um, he that hath a goal and an heir wanteth death at the right time for the goal and the heir. And out of reverence for the goal and the heir, he will hang up no more withered wreaths in the sanctuary of life. Essentially, when you have somebody who needs to come after you, or you have a goal that you want to achieve that needs to happen without you, something that needs to go on beyond you, that's when it's time to die, you know. And he follows this up by saying, and whoever wanteth to have fame must take leave of honor betimes and practice the difficult art of going at the right time. When you think of people in like sports careers or movie careers, there's definitely great examples of people who stayed in the game way long past their prime. And it's sad. It's sad to watch them continually, you know, come up and not be the person they once were because they're too afraid to let it go.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yep.
Actually, though,
Meanwhile, Peyton Manning is an example of, well, actually, he probably
Tom
should have
Brady,
retired a
too.
couple seasons early, but he went out on a Super Bowl win. So you'll never take that from it.
Tom
You
Brady,
know?
man.
Tom Brady,
He
yeah, he
went
retired at the top.
one season way too much.
He did
Yeah.
go, the whole retiring and unretiring thing.
Yeah.
That's like the same football podcast, though.
Yeah, but anyways, if it wasn't, I'm bringing in the extra time because I
Hell
ate up a
yeah.
bunch with the intro.
All right, I clocked it.
Um,
I got it.
Cool. Yeah, what do you guys think about this thus spoke Zarathustra? What do you guys think about this concept of dying at the right time?
Dude, I was going to. So I kind of want to. I'm going to like double up on your question and ask another question.
Awesome.
Maybe get a little bit more specific, but like, so he makes examples. So I thought he was going to talk about, because I know we've heard in the past about him saying like, oh, if you aren't creating or doing like, changing your values, whatever, he's like, then you should take the voluntary death, which I think is a little very pessimistic. I think, there's hope for everyone. And so I thought he was going
Mm-hmm.
to talk about that, but I actually really liked his reasonings for like voluntary death. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it kind of makes sense because, like, if you die in a car accident versus dying for a belief, those two are a little like, different, right? One's
Yeah.
a little bit more grandeur and the other's not. And so, like, his ideas of, dying for a belief or a goal, like a Revolutionary War, for example, something you truly believe in, or in air, like your child, or going away at the right time, so that way you leave a legacy as a legacy. Um, I thought all were great examples. So I was curious if y'all thought, those are also good examples, but it's like there really should never be a time for voluntary death. Like, you should always try to live.
I think when I think of voluntary death, I don't necessarily think of being like, all right, it's time for me to go. And then you jump off a bridge, but more kind of like knowing when to take a step back.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking
Yeah,
on
that's
voluntary
yeah.
death. To me, it's definitely more metaphorical.
I see.
Yeah, it's kind of like all right, it's either me or it's my child kind of thing. I guess I'll take the L on this one,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
guess
think that
it can be more than just
yeah. And it makes a lot of sense for like dying too late. But I think when we apply this to dying too early is when it kind of becomes a little complicated, because you don't always have that choice. And I'll get on my soapbox for a little bit and talk about the pot shots he takes at Jesus at the end of this chapter. But he says that Jesus died too early, and that if he would have grown older, he would have disavowed the doctrine he left. But then later he goes to say, "In your dying shall your spirit and your virtue still shine like an evening afterglow around the earth. Otherwise your dying hath been unsatisfactory." Could you not argue that the Hebrew God, Jesus dying, was like the beginning of, what the people who believe in it would say is virtue and spirit still shining thousands of years later? And then he also says you must die when you have an heir and a goal. And Jesus died on the cross for our sins, which is a clear goal. And his heir to that is everybody who believes him. So I don't know. Just saying, I feel like there's a bit of, you don't have to agree with the Bible, but I feel like if that's your opinion, you didn't read it.
You didn't flesh it out very well.
No.
You didn't think about it too much.
Do we think Nietzsche read the Bible?
Oh, hot take.
I
That's a good
want
question.
to say that he did because I feel like he's a reader.
I mean, if you
Right?
Yeah, I
if you
feel
are
like he
having
would have.
so many strong opinions about it, you should at least have dipped your toes in. You can't go on about
I
this
don't know.
without having ever. But
I don't
also,
know, some
part of me wouldn't put it past him that he has it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he's preaching, like, acquire all the knowledge if you don't even agree with it. But then it's like that's just like the one thing that he's like, it's too long.
except for this knowledge.
Except for
This
one.
knowledge specifically sucks.
Why does it suck? I don't know. I just don't like it.
I just don't like it.
I don't agree
See,
with it.
because like this dude, like I grew up with, he was like really into it, and I just really don't like him. So that's why.
It is interesting how it's like a little bit different how he specifically calls out like Jesus here versus like how we've always interpreted it as like the organized religion, or the idea of
Yeah.
religion.
Calls out Christianity a lot.
Mm.
When like
But
Western religion as a whole
Yeah,
has
I
a lot
think
of the same like tenets.
it could be more having to do with that being the big religion at the time. No,
Yeah.
I don't know history, so somebody correct me on that one. But I'm assuming, obviously the
1000%.
biggest religion is going to have the most pushback.
Yeah. He definitely didn't grow up in a Muslim nation. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
His nation
Yeah.
and his nation had big beef with the Jews. That's
It
also
did.
true. So I spoke that Zarathustra.
Okay, here we are in our last chapter. I forgot. Are we letting this one fly? Or are we putting 4 minutes on this one? I can't remember.
We may have to
I
put 4
say
minutes on this one, or like at least 8. A little time limit still.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think we can well, I was gonna say we could give it 8 because we didn't talk about the old and young women, but we spent all 4 minutes on that.
We did
Yeah,
spend
we
4
did.
minutes.
the thing is though, this is like what I can do is I can give
It's
like
long.
an intro. It is
It is the
long.
longest
I can
one.
give an intro, and it is the last chapter in the first part. So that's why I feel like we should all talk about it.
Okay. Let it fly.
Let
Let's
We'll let
relax a
fly.
little bit.
I'll put
Thank
I'll put
God!
10
Oh my
minutes.
fucking God, dude.
10 minutes? You what?
I
Huh?
just said
10
thank
minutes?
God. Oh my fucking God.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Because
he's
you
ready
wanted
to
to let it
relax.
fly?
He's
I see.
stressed.
God, that was so stressful.
It was a little intense, wasn't it?
It was a little
Was.
intense.
It was
Um,
fun though. At the same time, it was kind of like a little game.
I
It
will
was a
say,
little bit like a game.
I will say it was fun with stress induced. However, if we were to do this, I would not want to do a whole 14 chapters again. Prefer to bring
Yeah.
it down and
Yeah, but
Like
see,
less
that's the
chapters, longer
issue
time.
though, is
yeah.
like if we like keep on reducing the amount of chapters, we're gonna be like 8 episodes in before we know it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Like
bro,
It was
8
stressful.
more episodes
But we
in.
got
I'm
a
gonna
lot
say
done.
I don't care if we're 8 episodes in. Let me get through this book at whatever pace I decide or we decide. Fucking make it 12.
David
I
doesn't
don't care.
David isn't bound by the rules of
David
society.
doesn't care nothing. I'm honestly fine with that too, though. Okay.
Well, we haven't even finished. We're talking about this. We haven't even
Yeah,
finished this
guys,
one.
we haven't even
We
gotten
got
to
one more
the
chapter.
episode. That happens.
One
That discussion
chapter.
happens at the end. All right.
Yeah, give
Well,
us our intro,
I'm gonna
Connor.
set a 10-minute timer. Depending on how it's going at the end of 10 minutes, I'll let it
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, Connor. 3, 2, 1, and you're off.
Okay, the bestowing virtue. All right, chapter 22. This is the last chapter of the first part. It's broken down into 3 parts. Okay, a lot of parts going to be talked about. All right, the first
Yeah.
part of the last part of the first part, he gives a lesson, or gives knowledge to his quote unquote disciples, right? Because he didn't consider them disciples, right? The second part to the last part of part 1, he gives a warning to his disciples. And then the last part, the third part of the first part of the last chapter of the first part, sorry, he gives a command to his disciples.
Why did we give him 10 minutes?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So there's a lot of interesting things in this, right? With the whole lesson, about the whole lesson on gold and why it's the most coveted material was a really interesting bit. Um, the whole bestowing virtue itself is a very interesting bit, and I want to know you guys' opinion on that. But also how he kind of leaves this town of fucking cow pie or whatever.
Pie cow.
Pied cow, yeah,
The
pied cow.
pie cow.
And how he kind of leaves his followers. So yeah, what's y'all's opinion on well, let's go by part. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so we'll start with part 1. The whole lesson on gold and the staff and its meanings.
You know, for me, I kind of had I'm gonna let someone else talk because I kind of like the thing with gold. I kind of took away something else. I didn't really get too much from the gold, so I'll let someone else talk about the gold.
I don't know. Honestly, I think what I got from the gold personally was sort of a combination of things we already touched on, mainly solitude and the value chapter. Creating your own value is
See,
kind of how I interpreted it.
a lot of what I got, or the main takeaway. I mean, there's a lot to take away from the first part, but the main one I took away was the idea of selfishness. He presents almost 2 different kinds of selfishness. The one he
Mhm.
encourages, which I kind of liked. It's the idea of like you're selfish because you want to almost attain power and such, power and riches, so that you can then disperse it and give it out. Um, not You're not trying to attain power and riches solely for yourself, but for the goal of having the ability to allow others to also gain power and riches.
Yes.
Versus the idea of nasty selfish, which I thought was really cool because he says, "Tell me, my brother, what do we think bad and worst of all? Is it not degeneration? And we always suspect degeneration when the bestowing soul is lacking." He almost defines degeneration here as a lacking of bestowing, as a lacking of giving away, which goes to his other idea of selfishness, which is pure like evil or nasty selfishness, where you try to gain power and wealth and everything solely for yourself. And um, I think what comes with it is like you're not having any respect for rules, or like going back to the rival again. You can try to gain power over them because you're your rival, but you still have respect for them. Here, it's just like all that's out the door. I'm just trying to selfishly gain power and riches only for myself, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Yes, bestowers do not follow common values. Instead, creating new values seeks knowledge to create new. That's a selfish lifestyle, but healthy as it helps others and results in growth for all parties involved.
Oh,
Value
you
of all
guys.
of humanity, the greatest
Yes, and then
value.
the important part about the gold and the reason why gold is coveted is due to it being uncommon, and that it's uh, uh,
Unprofiting?
and that it it's it bestows its light upon all that see it, its splendor, right?
Mm.
It shares its luster with all around. Uh, Same is said with the highest virtue, the bestowing virtue. So it's kind of like gold is the representation of bestowing. And then whenever it comes to the whole staff thing, the gold, if the gold represents the bestower is represented by the sun, golden and bestowing, right? And then goodness is shared onto others with the snake wrapping around the sun. That makes sense. That's what I took from it.
It's very interesting. I did not think I'd deep into it.
I dug into this fucking staff, dude.
It was this chapter. He did his
The
research.
sun is the bestower on the gold.
Yeah,
And
the golden
snake is the
sun is
goodness
the
that wraps
bestower.
itself upon the bestower.
Yeah, and the snake is in my mind like the people seeking that knowledge, like attracted to its luster.
I will continue off that at time. So 2 more parts of this last
Yeah.
part. The one more thing I wanted to just comment on real quick was he's kind of giving us an idea of what he thinks the highest virtue is, and it's one that gives. I think that's a good definition.
One
Yeah.
that bestows.
So, Connor, you want to take us to part 2?
Yeah. So the warning. Oh yeah, it's just anti-religious stuff again. Yeah, so basically, the soul is not separate from the body. It's not higher. It's a part of the body. It's grounded. Keep yourself grounded. Keep yourself grounded to your nature and not think outside of your nature. Anyways, anybody want to talk about part 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's basically just saying, hey, if you're having a virtue, like this is another way of him defining his virtue again. If you're gonna have a virtue, make sure it like stays earthed. I mean, that like you can,
Yeah.
and like trying to take a good, better spin on it. It's like try to make sure it's a virtue that can actually affect the physical world we're living in. We've talked about this
Yeah.
before about like making sure we're wanting to do things in the reality that we are actually currently in. I think that's kind of what he tries to say.
Don't let a goal of some heavenly reward in your later eternal life stop you from achieving great things in front of you.
Exactly.
Creatures of death. Talk about this Twilight of the Idols too. The
Yeah.
awakening of the quote unquote real world.
Exactly.
So third
Part
part, he gives his disciples the command. He wants his disciples to rebel against him. He wants them to then become lions. He wants them to rebel against the teachings that he's given them, right? So that whenever he returns later on, it will no longer be like a master disciple relationship, but as equals, as friends,
Right.
who will have different worldviews and will be able to challenge one another's worldviews.
Yeah, that was the part I really liked, honestly. Probably maybe the most of this chapter is he's saying, guys, this is the part I think is really cool. Is like the Zarathustra character is like, trying to explain to people like his values on them, but at the same time he's being like, well, part of my values is telling you, hey, have your own values, have your own beliefs, don't just follow me blindly. That's what he's saying to his disciples, take your own path. I want
Joke's
to
on you.
walk
That's
alone.
following him blindly.
Well,
Yeah.
Zarathustra doesn't
That's
like you, but
22.
he's kicking you out. He's like, hey,
You know
I'm
what?
leaving you alone. You follow your own path, then you come back to me.
Kick me out. Just follow
Okay.
your values even harder.
No, they're just sitting there
But then
like,
they
wait,
transform into your own values, kind of.
so he's telling us to follow our own values. But he's telling us to leave. So do we follow him?
Oh wait, so then let's follow him because that's my value.
Because that's doing the opposite of what he just said. So that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea of like you should always not blindly follow someone. Be companions. Talked about it before. Be companions who find themselves and can talk with your other companions and friends.
Oh, and then the Great Noontide.
Oh, that is a big
Uh,
thing for him in this book.
yes, when humanity basically reaches its the climax of the story, gets to the climax of the story, right? And it has to basically change the values basically have to change towards uh towards Superman and going from downgoers to overgoers, right?
Yeah, it's basically the Great Noontide is when like everyone comes together to have their own values for humanity, and then now we march over, and now we have the Superman. Beautiful.
The one
Nice.
goal after the 1,000.
Yes.
Now we are in the second part.
That was one thing
Yeah.
I thought, dude, David, when you were talking about the 1,001 goals, you immediately recontextualize it as the 1,000 and the one goal. Like you said, the one after the 1,000.
No, I
Mhm.
like that too. I think that's
Thanks,
exactly how he
guys.
meant it, low key.
I tried to interpret it and make that was probably my best. That was my best slide. I really harped on because everything else. I
I can
wouldn't say
see it.
fodder,
I
but
saw you're proud of it.
that one had
The font was a
5
bit
bullet
more.
points.
Yeah, the font was a bit more straight up and down. You know, there's some better spacing in there. I saw it.
Yeah.
We're stopping at chapter 34. So self-surpassing is the last chapter we're reading.
Reading two self-surpassing,
Okay, so the last
Cool.
chapter we're reading is
the grave song.
the
33.
Grave Song. Okay.
Get in on an ominous note. Ooh, the grave song.
Ooh,
Ooh,
Halloween
spooky.
episode.
Yeah, that'll be.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait. 8 months. No, 6 months. We'll take a break for 6 months.
Sounds
That was
good.
good, boys.
All right, boys.
34.
Wonderful book club today,
Peace out. I
boys.
had fun.
And it was fun. It
I
was a
had
fun
fun.
one.
It was.
I definitely agree that like I don't think I can do this all the time, every single one. But
No.
I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. We
It
can
was a
bring
good
it. We can bring it in every once in a while. We'll switch it.
Yeah,
All right.
it was at least interesting. It was nice.
It
Yeah,
was.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
All right.
Good night.
Peace.
Good night,
See ya.
y'all.
Later.
Thank you for listening to today's book club. If you want to support us, please feel free to leave a rating and review on wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so either one of those would be great help. Also, leave a follow. That'd be amazing too. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, please leave some comments, like the video, subscribe. Another way you can help support us is we are Amazon affiliates, which means you'll see in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast on the episode, there will be a link to the book that we are currently covering, or if we spin the wheel to select our next book, you'll also see a link to the next book that we will be covering as well. And these links are to the books the exact same books that we are reading during the podcast. So, if you're going to read the book anyways, it'd be a great help if you could use the link. It's going to be no additional cost to you. And we do get a small percentage of the proceeds. So you get a book, and we also get a benefit. It's a win-win, honestly. And even if you don't get, like, even if you don't use the link, I still recommend getting the book. One, because it helps to read what we're reading, so you can kind of have some more context into what we are discussing, as well as having your own book. We're not covering everything in the book on the podcast. That's impossible to do in an hour and a half, and so it allows you to get some really nice information in there that again we just can't cover. And it also allows you to annotate your own book. So, if years down the line, you can kind of come back to the book, kind of remind yourself on the lessons you learned. And, if you reread it again, you can have almost like a conversation with yourself back in time too. It's really an investment to, I think, read and buy books. So again, thank you for listening to Book Club and can't wait to catch you in the next one.